description.
stereotypical. That's the most stereotypical grifter thing known to
Mm.
mankind. Okay, are we accusing this guy of being a grifter? I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, in his channel description, it says promoting nuanced ideas in a digital world of extreme. So the message here is that like you should seek like a compromise between two parties or whatever.
Seeking nuance.
Looking at
Yeah.
looking at the channel, like it's a lot of like social analysis about like AI psychosis.
Look, you made the same. You made the
scams.
same video. You made the same video. We need to. This guy's channel is a gold mine. You made the same video. The rise of pseudo-intellectualism.
Absolutely.
Like
It really is.
I could totally like. I really want to do a video like my first video will probably be comparing the two. Like I wanted to do like not necessarily a Marxist thing, but like a thing on
Mhm.
like consumerism wrapped up in like an analysis of like there's a video on YouTube called why works why V works and why the Soul Survivor doesn't by Mad Italian. It got 1.2 million views and it's really good and I realized yeah, it's that. It's a great video. I wanted to do like a full thing on it.
Yeah.
But like with for the entire game and for like the for the adaptation to video game adaptation of Edge Runners and the Fallout TV show because there are legitimate like comparisons and criticisms that can be made here. Oh my god, look, he's selling his book. Look, a second one. Oh,
It
wait, he's
seems
probably
like
not
it's
selling his
just like
book.
this liberal analysis of like AI psychosis. He dives into like history and analysis of
Destiny
like
is
socialism, but
oh wait,
he
hold on.
never talks about class.
Go to the Twitter. Hold on, go to the Twitter. Destiny is forged and hidden sparks, but remember in the flames they kindle. This guy made a fucking video on pseudo-intellectualism, but every single thing is like trying to be. My man is trying to be Master Wu or some bullshit, bro. Also, hello, Bunny of Bellel, hello, Rivo.
It's a lot of like individual thing about like falling in love. He makes videos about
Yes.
like where is it?
Twin, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do for
Mhm.
today.
Yeah. So
The
I
raw
think
milk.
let's get into this actual slop with.
But yeah, we know this guy is like the most pseudo-intellectual moron liberal known to mankind. Like if somebody is flarping as like an intelligent person, like a smart guy, you know they're the dumbest motherfucker known to mankind, so this is gonna be good. Also, there was an animal farm quote in the comment section.
Oh hell yeah! It starts with 10 November 1989, so the Berlin Wall.
The
Let's
Berlin
look
Wall.
what Cole has to say about the Berlin Wall.
Okay,
On November 9th,
the
19...
funniest part about hold on, the funniest part about the, like Berlin is that a lot of people tend to gloss over the fact that East Berlin was literally just like a single tiny enclave city.
And that was the part that was surrounded with the wall because it was effectively like a base for Western spies to like it. People pretend like the communists were fucking like crazy for being paranoid, but like the
Look at
West
that
had an
shit.
enclave and was actively trying to destabilize East Germany the whole time. Like it's just
I
a
mean,
tiny
like,
fucking enclave.
but like there is nuance. East Germany was very revisionist, so that
Yeah.
kind of led to state capitalism. But at the same time, like I've like with Iran, like we support the right of the people to self-determination and like, you know,
Mm.
even if it's like kind of revisionist, I still do support like people's right to self-determination.
Yeah, absolutely. In the face of fucking US and Western imperialism, why the fuck not?
And
Um,
they never bring up like the statistics, like the literacy rates and stuff, how whenever socialism just
mhm.
disappears from a country, it just drops. Like every statistic just goes into the fucking gutter. They
Yeah.
always bring up the GDP. It's like they unintentionally defend like the petty it's like they unintentionally say, "Hey, the bourgeoisie it would suck for the bourgeoisie if socialism was there." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course it would. That's the point."
Have you seen that Badam Pana video about like how economists just make shit up? A good thing go
Oh,
up and bad thing goes down. This is proof my thing
I
works.
do not. I don't watch Bada Banana, but you gotta send me that shit.
Oh, I love him when he's off his meds.
Oh my god.
It's marvelous.
Bada Banana. I remember a liberal like reacting to Bada Banana saying, "Why do we need to vote for Donald Trump to own the fucking liberals?" And I'm just like, you know what? I'm thinking, you know what? That guy who's looking back, that guy sort of had a point. That's funny as hell. Cause you see people like what's his name, like Nick Fuentes, advocating for voting like Democrat, and you just think, man, the average Democrat voter in 2026 is a Nazi, like
Absolutely.
a full-on genuine fascist Nazi.
I mean, the genocide deniers, they straight up defend the genocide of people in Palestine by this Zionist entity. Someone in chat said, replacing class consciousness with liberal self-help only works on those who deal with capitalism in extremities rather than in the horror in the main. Yeah. Yeah, white middle class 20 people who are part of the labor aristocracy. Anyway.
Advice from the bourgeoisie only helps the bourgeoisie.
Absolutely. Or the labor aristocracy who lives in relative comfort compared to like people in the third world, the global south. Not doing third worldism today though. This is not the way
It's like
to go.
it's the middle class. It's the middle class stuff. It's like the labor aristocracy is basically like the middle class.
Yeah. All right. Without any further ado, let's start this slop.
I am so sorry.
The fall of the Berlin Wall marked one of the most dramatic moments of political change in modern history.
Like,
For nearly
evil
3 decades, the
Marxist
wall had
communist.
divided the city of Berlin and symbolized the broader ideological split of the Cold War between the Soviet-aligned East Germany and the democratic West Germany.
Notice how he says democratic here, as opposed to the German Democratic Republic. Like, oh, these guys had a fucking wall and barbed wire all across the place. And they were effectively like sending spies all throughout the
Wait, West Germany is the one with the wall?
Yeah, the wall was surrounding West Germany's enclave in Berlin. And was
the West Germany the one with the capitalism, or was the East Germany the one with the capitalism?
West Germany was the capitalist side, like the was an enclave, and East Germany was surrounding it. And so they had barbed wire, and so like they were effectively like a bastion of Western quote unquote like bourgeois democracy. And like one funny ass thing is like throughout the whole history of East Germany, in the eastern side of Berlin, they had like working public transit, transportation, like tram lines, very good public transit. And in the west side, in the 60s, like they ripped out all the public transit and like widened roads for cars and shit. So when you look at Germany today, or at Berlin today, sorry, like the west side is fucked up and the east has like very good public transit.
East Germany is like the capital, is the socialist. West Germany is like the capitalist.
Yeah. So like, oh my fucking god. Anyway, it's just not a good start when you start by portraying like an enclave of Western imperialism as democratic, but then you propagandize immediately against the Soviet Union. Anyway.
So wait, it was like an enclave. So the entirety of Germany was like socialist? I don't really get it.
What do you mean?
Okay, so it was an enclave of socialism or an enclave of capitalism.
I mean, right here, like this was like this part was East Germany, and then you had West Germany, and like yeah.
So the one with the wall was the capitalist side.
Yeah, right here. Like West Germany was not West Germany, but like West Berlin was an enclave of East Germany, and the rest surrounding it was West Germany. So it's kind of like they had an enclave where the West had communications, and like spies to like screw up and constantly destabilize the East. So of course
So
they were gonna
wait.
like act upon it.
So the capitalist side was the one with the wall.
Yeah, they were surrounded by a barbed wire wall.
And they never tell you this in school. They never tell you this in school.
No, it doesn't serve the
That's
Western
so
propaganda.
fucking stupid. Oh, why did they need to build the wall? Actually, West Germany was the one who built the fucking wall, jackass. Hey, if capitalism works so well, why do they feel the need to build a fucking wall? And wow, wait, hold on. This is like, hey, well, if capitalism works so well in the United States, why do we also feel the need to build a wall?
Because immigrants or some shit.
But in the months leading up to its collapse, hundreds of thousands of East Germans began protesting across the country, especially in the weekly Monday demonstrations in Leipzig, demanding freedom to
That
travel
tends to happen
and
with the
democratic
revisionism.
reforms. As the protests grew and the government struggled to contain them, officials announced that travel restrictions would be lifted. Within hours, massive crowds gathered at the wall, and overwhelmed border guards eventually opened the checkpoints. People climbed onto the concrete barrier and began chipping pieces away with hammers.
Hold on,
Over the
pause.
following months, large sections of the wall were dismantled, as the East German
Okay,
government
pause,
collapsed under
pause.
the pressure of
Like in this case, like yeah,
With
as you
the-
said, Kyle,
with the
like the
knowledge-
wall was installed by the socialists because there was like insane fucking destabilization attempts from the West.
Like, with the knowledge that the capitalist side was the one with the wall,
I mean, it was dividing
Um,
them, and it was put up by the socialists because, like, the West was trying to destabilize them.
but yeah, that does tend to happen with like revisionism and stuff, right? Like, the revisionism tends to like ruin society, and that's why a lot of the more like the revisionists are like, hey, why don't you become revisionist? Why don't you tap into revisionism so you can make the movement go faster? And I'm just like, no. Every step of a real movement is better than a billion like tiny little individual programs.
Mm.
And it's just like, I don't want the West Germany, East Germany stuff to happen again. I don't want 1991 or Khrushchev to happen again. That's,
Oh,
like,
hell no, hell no.
like, I don't want that shit to happen again. That's kind of the point of like why we're anti-revisionists. Because we've seen history and we know what to do. We've analyzed history, we know what to do for like history, and just like, oh god, we're not even like 50 seconds in. We need to just like,
Yeah, but
Do you
something I
wanna-
want
do you
to
wanna-
talk about right here is he's talking about bread and circuses and protests and revolutions, not in a class dichotomy, in a class war
in like a
analysis.
commodifying way.
No, it's like
doesn't-
in his mind, government and the state is like a neutral entity, and it's like every protest is the same. There's no class or capitalist slash socialist element. It's just authoritarian. It's just
Doesn't have it's
a
like
liberal
hold on,
framing.
hold on. It's like it's the petty bourgeois good versus evil like type thing.
Mm-hmm. And so, like in their mind, like the '56 Hungarian Revolution, all the
It's
fucking-
ridiculous, and
yeah, all
it is
the
ridiculous
protests
and-
across Eastern Europe.
I have a quote for this. It is ridiculous and shallow to separate politics from economics.
Absolutely.
of mass,
It's
but
J.B.
largely
Stalin, the
peaceful
source of
protests.
Trotsky's mistakes.
When we reflect on protests or revolts or movements of the past, we tend to view them as something tangible, something that genuinely sparked the change that protesters wanted to see. Sure, the past is littered with stories of protesters who tried and failed, but success stories like this were happening almost any time the people of a nation or state got so fed up with the current regimes that they felt like they had no other choice but to act.
But like, oh my god, this is a
Not
framing
going
we see a
like
lot of the
this.
time. They go about regimes and governments and states, but they don't actually talk about material conditions, about economic
he's-
determinants. And in this case, like,
he's not going to talk about. He's not going to talk about like how a revolution brought about, the kind of specific thing is brought about. Because in order to do that, you have to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge why like the October Revolution was started, why like what the reasoning behind the various revolutions throughout history. And in order to do that, you have to demonize the American Revolution because it was a bourgeois revolution.
Mm.
It was a bourgeois revolution. In order to do that, you also have to say, hey man, the October Revolution was actually kind of based and the Tsars deserved it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hold on, I gotta take a piss real quick, I'm sorry.
No worries. I'll just replay a part of it and comment on it.
Something that genuinely sparked the change that protesters wanted to see. Sure, the past is littered with stories of protesters.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't have the pewter on here. But it's also a framing where, like, revolutions are a thing of the past. Like the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, the Chinese Revolution. It's a mindset that puts all of this in like a historical thing of the past, and not like an active struggle that we see, not an active class struggle. So I'm interested to see where it leads.
Who tried and failed, but success stories like this were happening almost any time the people of a nation or state got so fed up with the current regimes that they felt like they had no other choice but to act. Today, I'd argue that most people feel hopeless and that there's nothing we can effectively do to revolt against the obviously evil forces of authoritarian governments and big tech corporations.
The idea of the like the petty bourgeois idea, the American idea, I'm just say like it's the American idea of revolution. Okay, so this is like this is completely related, I swear. But there's this game like Road 67. It's like there's like a game based on like it's like a road thing where you like there's different characters and there's like paths and stuff like okay, so like there's 3 endings, right? Road 96, I think. Road 96. There's a game called Road 96. And like and there's 3 endings, like the liberal democracy ending, the fascism ending, and the revolution ending. And it kind of exposes like the liberal idea of what a revolution is, because like everybody just kind of like, if you spray paint the words revolution under buildings like enough time and enough people spray paint revolution, then a revolution fucking happens, and everybody just gets up and goes yeah. And at the end of the fucking game, I remember I was just staring at the screen because they put the fucking liberal Democrat in charge after the revolution. I was just like, so what the fuck did I do all that for? Mind you, I played that game all night. Mind you, I played that game all night and I was actually having a blast with it because it was really good. But it had such the most lib. But that's not really important. Like, what's important is like that's what people think revolution is. People have this like fucking petty bourgeois idea of what a revolution is. People don't know a damn thing about the Vanguard Party or like, you know,
They don't
the
dissociate.
illegal.
Yeah, they dissociate
don't-
authoritarianism or government or state with like economics or class. For them, like everything is about like liberty or freedom, or like these vague like moralist statements. And you're gonna see how he talks about it. Like look at this shit.
Felt like they had no other
It's
choice
why
but to act.
Trotskyism is so
Today, I'd
popular.
argue that most people feel hopeless and that there's nothing we can effectively do to revolt against the obviously evil forces of authoritarian governments and
So he talks about evil forces of authoritarian government, but he doesn't specify what the economic base is. He doesn't specify like to whom it's evil or what is evil. It's idealism.
He doesn't define evil. He doesn't go over the reasons why. Like, as far as I know, we're like a minute 15 seconds in, but you know more about this. You know more about this video than I do. But like, he doesn't really so far go like talk about like the economic problems and whatnot. Like, if this were a Marxist talking about this, right? If I were to make this video, I would go over a bunch of the economic problems, like the government you can't even call it corruption, it's just baked in. The corporations and how gaming is being turned into a thing for the
Mm-hmm.
wealthy instead of for the proletariat. All these things, I would be going over all these things, talking about the things that upset people, and then I would be like, I would actually define all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Because like right now
Because
he doesn't define it. He just
this
uses
is
like topics that people are angry about, and then he says things that are pulling people away from like an actual class conscious
hey,
understanding.
look at this. Isn't this stuff you're upset about?
Mm.
Isn't this like things you're upset about? Like, there's two ways of talking to people, right? There's three ways of like talking with people, right? Like, I believe Stalin or what's his name? Engels. I genuinely forgot who the fuck Engels was. Damn you, Trotsky. Okay, so there's three ways of talking to people, right? The meet them where they are, which is like, essentially talking to them like, oh, wait a minute, I remember where it's from, like the socialism for all thing, right? He talked about like there's like three ways of radicalizing the masses, and only one works, right? The meeting people where they are, which is like doing baby talk to a child. This is or the which is like the democratic socialist thing. Like, they're trying to force the masses into a revolutionary stance, which is like beating the shit out of the child, or just like talking to people about their problems and being real with them, which is the Marxist-Leninist thing. It's like talking normally to a child, because a child, it's the best case, because the child will like. You don't want to lie to a child, because that could hurt them in the long run, right?
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, unless it was like Santa Claus or something, right? Santa Claus is something we all like pretend exists, but like we all know after a certain age he doesn't. Like my family just likes to pretend like Santa Claus fucking exists and like he brings presents and stuff. It's not really a lie if we're all pretending like if it's pretty much implied. We don't actually believe this.
Mm.
But yeah, you basically want to tell people like the cold hard truth, give proper analysis and just talk to people. You don't want to lie to them, because that could hurt you and them in the long run.
Like a lot of people get like they get caught up in like diluting the message of Marxism so people agree with them, but by doing that you are effectively that's what
That
I'm
is
saying,
actually
diluting the
what
message.
that's actually what I wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Because let's say, when are you going to reveal that you were lying the entire time? And then, if you reveal that you lied, people disagree with you. It's better to pull the band-aid off and get people to just plain agree with you,
You have to be
agree
like
with your actual stances and positions.
yeah, you take it
You
from like
gotta
a real base and then you gradually build up their understanding of Marxism.
And it's possible to appeal to people while also being real with them, because people want you to be real with them. People want you to be honest with them. People want you to explain their problems, and people want you to explain the class analysis of it.
Absolutely. Fuck, we have 19 more
But
minutes of this.
people don't know you want them to, but like they do want you to. I've actually done. I think I've done that before a couple of times. I use like the Palestine stuff, and I talk to somebody about like colonialism and imperialism, and they join the server. They actually have like a Seitao Matsuzaka profile picture, and I've talked a couple of times. They've talked a couple of times in the server. So yeah, continue.
Oh, this is gonna be painful.
Big tech corporations. But what if I told you that was their intention all along? Some of the greatest minds of previous generations predicted this, that we would become so sedated with entertainment and information that all we would do is complain among ourselves instead of gaining class consciousness. So in this video, I want to explain how we got here, why it feels like every protest or revolt is ineffective, and what it might actually take to start seeing...
Pause.
So, okay. This is gonna be one of these Democratic
every
Socialist
5
videos.
seconds. I thought this was like a right-wing grift thing. This is like somehow worse.
Oh no, nuanced ideas and how you can. Wait. Okay, when someone talks about class and then they don't advocate for like actual like socialism, he's either a suck them or them suck. Wait,
What he's doing is giving people like bits and crumbs of like the idea that he wants a revolution just like they do, but it's in order to disarm them and keep them from, a potential revolt.
It feels like what Kotsky was bullshitting about, like a revolution, but you just seize the government and don't do anything, and you just keep the state.
Oh my
as
god,
is.
this is Kautskyism. This is Kautskyism.
Renegade Kotsky back at it again.
No, wait, which is like this is kind of like this is. I think this might be a Trotskyism. I'm trying to figure out what Trotskyism even is. So far, I've landed on it's pretty much just like bourgeois democracy.
Anthony's calling him a doomslopper.
Doomslopper, yeah, he's like a doomslopper.
Absolutely.
I do believe that there is like something in like the old doomslop genre. We could probably take advantage of it, maybe.
Yeah.
But it would have to be like, we could probably take advantage of it.
Let's continue this to the chapter about bread and circuses.
The change that most of us
Was there
want
anything
to see
important?
in the world. There's a phrase that dates all the way back to around 100 AD, attributed to the Roman poet Juvenal: bread and circuses. In the Roman Empire, rulers used massive public entertainment like gladiator contests and chariot races, along with free grain to keep citizens
Hey guys, pop
happy and
quiz.
prevent civil unrest. Seeing
Okay,
what was going
okay, let's gamble a little bit. How much do you guys think he's Okay, so we have option A. He does a class analysis on commodification and on the Marxist theory of alienation, or B, it's petty bourgeois Trotskyist Kautsky Khrushchevist slop.
We'll
Which
see.
one? Which one do y'all think it's gonna? Which one do y'all think it's gonna be?
on, Juvenal
Please,
used
I
the
need
term
money
as a
for a
negative
mini
metaphor
HDMI
to
cable.
explain what happens when citizens sedate themselves with pleasure and comfort. As he puts it in Satire X, the people that once bestowed commands, consulships, legions, and all else now concerns itself no more, and longs eagerly for just two things: bread and circuses. Learning from writings like these and
Try not to
comparing them
stop
to his
this.
own time
I'm trying to
period,
let them
English
even
writer and
speak.
philosopher Aldous Huxley warned citizens about the danger of too much pleasure, updated for the modern age in his 1923 essay, Pleasures, published in Vanity Fair. I highly recommend everyone watching this to read that short essay,
okay,
but I'm just going
fine.
to pull the most important and relevant passages from that.
How about we actually read it instead of the passages he wants us to read?
Okay, so like the thing is, right? Okay, so the thing about this is the problem with the bread and circuses idea, as I've seen, right? The problem with the bread and circuses idea is that the bread and circuses eventually do become worse thanks to the highest stage of capitalism, imperialism, right? I mean, we've seen how Fortnite, how Roblox, how fucking TikTok and YouTube Shorts have gotten worse, right? Oh boy, the number 1914. Yeah, that's gonna be great. You want to read this, or do you want me to?
We'll go over this.
You're
So, fuck, my phone's in the way. Let me this. Okay, so
I can read it.
Okay, so we've heard a great deal since 1914 about the things which are a menace to civilization. First, it was Prussian militarism, then the Germans at large, then the prolongation of the war, then the shortening of the same, then after a time the Treaty of Versailles, then French militarism. With all the while, a running accompaniment of such a minor menaces as prohibition, Lord Northcliffe, Mr. Bryan, Comstockery.
Kind of funny how like how he talks about the Treaty of Versailles and how it's like a threat, but then genuinely like 10 years later it actually like leads to World War II, and so this guy is just proven wrong in the first paragraph. This guy is proven a fucking moron in the first paragraph. Oh my god.
Like, it's...
You are quoting a guy who is proven a moron in the first fucking paragraph.
Like it's an analysis that doesn't really dive into class or analysis of the root causes of like this slopification of
It's
culture. It's
petty.
it's the it's commodification.
Bourgeoisie. Oh my god. Oh! It's the most petty bourgeois dumbass shit ever, right? Like Marx writes extensively on commodification. So if you want to talk about commodities, you can like look at Marx.
Mm.
Like there I think there's plenty of Marx books on commodification. Hell, I could probably go find one right now.
Like this one, Aldous, he talks about like pleasure seeking shit, but like a lot of the time it doesn't reflect the actual conditions of like oppressed people, of workers, of anyway. I'm not gonna expand too much on this. Let's watch.
Yeah, I
what
could probably
he has to say.
recommend a book. It's in Capital apparently. Like there's plenty of. It's called there's like a book called The Commodity by Karl Marx. If y'all want to go check that out, I don't know. I'll definitely check it out after the. I'll definitely check it out after you know the stream.
Like one thing we have to keep in mind is like in this case, it's not like a historical materialist understanding of history. It is analyzing culture and society as a something that exists outside of material conditions.
And as we just said, this like as we just saw, like the very first paragraph aged like genuine milk with World War II. Okay, it was proven wrong with fucking World War II.
Essay Pleasures, published in Vanity Fair. I highly recommend everyone watching this to read that short essay, but I'm just going to pull the most important and relevant passages from that to keep this video succinct. Huxley begins his essay by clarifying the enemy of our restlessness and depression. The dangers which confront our civilization are not so much the external dangers, wild men, wars, and the bankruptcy that wars bring after them. The most alarming dangers are those which menace it from within, that threaten the mind rather than the body and estate of contemporary man. In other words, like I've said in previous videos, the wars our generation are
the dangers of civilization.
Like it's the dangers of capitalism.
The dangers of civilization are the things that affect our mind and our
alarming
the fuck?
dangers
like,
are those which
this is like this is
that threaten the mind rather than the body and
this is like this is the most the problems with capitalism are not actually systemic. They're the individual. They're individualistic shit. And you just need to it's human nature. You just need to lock in. You just need to thug it out. Yeah.
Oh,
it's bullshit. It's just
state of contemporary man. In other words, like I've said in previous videos,
I also know a guy named All-Star, if you want to like. I also know like another channel called All-Star. He's a little bit better, but he did a video on socialism and why it turns into technocracy, and I just kind of want to go over it, you know.
That'd be big.
Are fighting are less physical, although that statement holds a bit less weight at the moment, and more spiritual than anything else. Modern pleasures have gotten, quote, progressively more imbecile, such that actually using our brains to accomplish important tasks is almost entirely optional. Huxley observed this over a century ago now. He argued that distractions used to require at least a baseline level of intellectual effort and passion. For example, in the 17th century, royal families would listen to sermons and academical disputes regarding theology and metaphysics. The common people engaged in the exercise of a certain intelligence too. Their form of entertainment included
Hold on a minute.
plays.
Hold on. That's fucking stupid. This is the dumbest shit ever, right? Look, man, I get like some stuff like doom scrolling does like apply, but there was always mindless bullshit, right? Like with plays, you didn't really have to use your mind for that, right? But there's also like it's that's not entirely true. In fact, I'd argue a lot of the commodities and stuff require like more effort. I mean, have you seen Geometry Dash? Have you seen Fortnite? That requires like so much brain power. It's pretty great. Sometimes I listen to audiobooks and I find myself focusing just a little bit more on the game than I do on the audiobook. Because I'm locked in. I just start locking in.
It
Like,
seems
it
like
requires...
it's like generalizing like bread and circuses as something that's always been like a something to distract from authoritarianism and state power and rule, but it's ahistoric. You have to dive into like actual concrete examples. Yeah.
Yes, you have to die, like, you have, it's just like, oh my god, we're just like the Roman Empire without, like, analyzing the fucking Roman Empire. It's just like, you have to, when you're talking about commodities, you have to go into what a commodity is and how, like, commodities work in capitalism and how, like, what the forms of commodity are, right? Like, what the,
Mm,
just like, you have to go into what everything a commodity is. You have to explain it in great depth. That's why that's why the modern commodity, that's why the commodity book by Marx that I recommended is like 2 hours long and is part one of one. Because because commodities, any aspect of capitalism is like a deep and complex thing, right?
mm,
Capitalism is not just like, capitalism is not like a market system, right? It's not just like a one thing. Okay, you slightly understand this. You know, you scroll the Wikipedia page, you're fucking done. You have to have like in-depth explanations for what it is, right? That's why imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, is over 2 to 5 hours long. Because to
mm.
understand imperialism outside of, oh, it's when Half-Life 2, you have to understand like the in-depth bullshit that goes into like capitalism and how it leads to imperialism, the highest stage
Mm-hmm.
of capitalism. You have to go into all of this bullshit. You have to do an analysis, a material analysis. Marxism, Leninism, Hogism is common sense.
No, but I want to look a slap on Wikipedia and use it as my source. Otherwise,
I
reading too
want
hard. My name is Anarch.
I want to watch fucking Wally. I want to I want to read, I want to pretend to read, or
George Orwell. All right.
I could never get into Orwell.
We have
His
17 more minutes. How about we comment after each chapter instead? That way we
Yes,
can have
I'm
it in a
sorry.
more structured manner. It's alright. It's
I've
alright.
been trying.
We're able to comprehend works like Othello and Hamlet
I believe we
by
said
William
everything we need to
Shakespeare.
say for this
Huxley
section.
also explains how peasants went through traditional rites like dances and ceremonies. As he puts it, their pleasures were intelligent and alive, and it was they who, by their own efforts, entertained themselves. Now, the majority of the pleasures we engage with are less participatory and more passive. For Huxley's generation, this meant things like the gramophone, otherwise known as a record player, the press, where news was filled with democratized information that did not require much thinking,
Passive.
and watching sports rather than playing them. It's pretty funny that Huxley and other thinkers at the time saw people using a record player as something that was making them dumber, and it just goes to show that there is a bit of nuance with this, that not all advancements in technology making things easier, like listening to music,
So what's the nuance?
is necessarily damaging like Huxley seemed to have thought it was, and that's
Thank you for enlightening us, bro. This is not profound.
where I would disagree.
Like, but
I
this is
do
the
think just a
dumbest
little
shit
bit of what
ever.
he was
Like, you're
saying
not
was
going into why.
basically, oh, anything that makes something easier and more
Okay, you're not
accessible
going.
is poison to the
Hold on,
mind.
this is.
But I do think
Yeah,
he
just
really
let's
does hit
pretend
on
like
a
we
few
finished this
great
part.
points for contemporary entertainment.
Yeah, he then goes into modern entertainment, portrayal of that stuff. Anyway, but like,
Okay, so
in this case,
hold on a minute.
like, I just want to make a point about peasants. Like, the daily life of peasants was just fucking working the land, dancing, talking to each other, and then like yapping about taxes and like it. There was no slot because all their fucking life was working the land for a lord.
He's not okay. So the biggest issue I have with this is that he didn't explain what the modern commodities are. Do you consider video games a commodity? Because like if you consider video games a commodity, I have like 6 different video games that would disagree with your passive idea of passive I have every video game on Earth that would disagree with your like idea of passive commodification, like a passive consumption, right? And he even mentioned the passive consumption, like a passive commodity of their time, right? Like the TV, right? He mentioned the fucking TV. Oh, he's getting into it in this section.
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch it.
It's also like he it's the analysis like like if everyone is like a petit bourgeois end of teenage just fucking doom scrolling on YouTube, like the average proletarian like works fucking 8 hours a day and like doesn't have like the capacity to just
You
fucking do
hold
those
on.
hours.
I think I have something that I just want like this entire thing is you say everything nowadays is passive and everything back then required a lot more brain power, but you've only really when you talk about past commodities, you only really talk about passive consumption, what can be passively consumed.
Something
What
to
is the
clarify,
active
Rivo,
purpose-
like the video is not about East Germany, it's about like
What
like
is
self-improvement and Gen Z not
Yeah, you
doing anything.
genuinely started on like the East-West Germany section genuinely only started like only was a thing to like start disarming people like, oh yeah, if we do a revolution then what happens? But yeah, you basically like what active participation do I have in the 1980s, 1990s watching fucking He-Man or Transformers, right? Or whatever they watched in the 1950s. What act and what's like do you consider like anything that provides value to culture to be like a commodity, or do you consider, because by that logic, right, there are a lot of video games like Minecraft or Metal Gear Solid that would probably not be considered commodities. Like, what do you consider a commodity? By your definition, what do you consider a commodity?
Like something
Because
exchange for another commodity, or something that is produced, sorry, for exchange on the market.
I'm talking about, but yeah, I'm talking about like
to him. Yeah, but to him it seems like he doesn't actually view them as commodities or anything. It's just like something that is imposed on you as slop, and it's I don't know. Let's see if it goes down the self-improvement pipeline down the video.
Commodity is when things I don't like.
All right, let's continue with this.
Today, the smartphone has combined just about every single form of pleasure and entertainment you could think of into a pocketable device that we keep with us at all times. This has a myriad of negative consequences, of course. Social media makes us depressed and anxious, burnt out, and disrupts our sleep. Any sexual fantasy you desire is at your fingertips. There's not a one-to-one connection between you and the necessities of life because it's all been streamlined for convenience. These are all things that I've talked about at length on this channel, right? But what I want to talk about specifically...
This is very first world coded.
Okay, it's not like I don't disagree that like social media as it exists is like is bad, but I think social media is not like it's not phone bad. It's like we can analyze the effects of a smartphone on modern society, right? Like society would be bad even if the phone doesn't exist. In fact, I'd argue society would be even worse without the smartphone. Actually,
we have a means to communicate with other workers
I don't
to organize.
I don't disagree that the idea of like that porn is like a bad thing. I just think like you should probably like analyze like, okay, certain porn, that's not that bad. You know, it's like you know, porn is generally very exploitative, right? If it's something like fucking hentai, non-lolly hentai, right? It's generally not very harmful, right? And it's like, you know, it benefits the artist, but they're kind of forced to draw it. So there's like a bit of like not nuance, because that's a petty bourgeois term, but like there's a bit of a contradiction there.
I mean, like,
I'd say
the whole schlick is about like how modern entertainment is meant to like control. I mean, yes, there's a component of bread and circuses, but like the most important thing here is the right wing promoting like everything in their power to like avoid class divisions. We're gonna see how where it
Social
goes with this.
media,
is
social
what
media
happens
has
to our
made
ability
people
to
from like thousands of miles away, has made stuff like, I don't know, like ours, has made
revolt.
allowed for people to see the talents of people like thousands of miles away instantly at their fingertips without having to go out, right? It has done wonders, right? Done wonders. Stuff like and has allowed for more for people like I don't know, like the amazing, for like people like Gooseworks and SMG4 to make their fucking amazing digital circus without having to get like having to beg a corporation to show their show on TV, you know. Anybody at any time can generally like go watch like the amazing digital circus or like some other YouTube thing. But that there's also like downsides to the like convenience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we drowned ourselves
Which of course,
in mindless
I'm already taking
stimulation.
up too much time. I don't need down.
Firstly, social media
Like
encourages what I would call
we're taking up too much.
simulation.
Oh
Firstly,
shit!
social
Oh
media
shit!
encourages
He's
what I would
continuing.
call a portrayal of bad stuff to bad stuff actually happening pipeline. We tend to read more about bad news than good news because we're wired to seek negative information, so the algorithms reflect that, and we feel bad and powerless about what's happening in the world that may or may not be portrayed accurately. Then we go and talk to our friends about it. If we can't find any sort of mutual agreement about happy stuff happening in the world, at least we can all agree that the world sucks right now, right? Well, then that inevitably is going to affect the mood that we carry
What do you want them to
into our
do?
real life interactions. We think things are really bad, partly because they actually are, but also partially because we're fed an immensely unnatural amount of bad stuff, so things actually
Okay.
do get worse. This
Hold on a
cycle
minute.
repeats itself indefinitely until a force strong enough to change it steps in, but
Oh my god. It goes about emotional numbness and how people like
Okay.
how about the people in the global south getting fucking bombed into oblivion by the country you live in? It's not just
So I
about
have,
like
like,
consuming content that
I
shows
have-
us it's bad. People are living through US imperialism. People are living through
have-
atrocious conditions.
I have several things to say.
Mm.
Number one, do you want to be fed just mindlessly like good information? Is it that bad? And like number two, right? You don't go over like you could say, you know, hey, things are bad right now, but here's how like Lenin and stuff, you know, changed better. Here's the idea of the Vanguard Party and Marxism-Leninism, right? You could say that, right? Because, like, you know, with the bad stuff happening, at least being like a Marxist-Leninist, knowing how to stop the bad stuff from happening, makes you, like, less of a doomer, right? Makes you far less of a doomer and makes you actually more hopeful. Like, especially when you're actually doing something and you know that, like, especially like right now, right? Like with the streaming, you know, it's like this is like a step towards something real. It's like a small step, but it's a step towards something real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You could
trying day to
explain
bring
like
people to class consciousness instead of like fucking
you
liberal dead ends.
you could explain Marxism-Leninism and say, hey, things, you know, instead of saying, hey, well, why don't I get fed good information? Instead of saying that, you could say, hey, I know things are bad in the world, but there's ways to, you know, there's Marxism-Leninism, there's Lenin, you know, he did a lot of good, he said a lot of, he wrote down a lot of good stuff.
that force
You know,
rarely
there's
gets the
Hoja, all that.
opportunity to step in due to the second
And then he's
reason
talking
that
about
social
like,
media affects.
wait, is this like, wait, hold on, I forgot what he's saying. I
Like
forgot what he's
just
saying.
we're getting fed bad stuff and then
Is he
we get
talking
emotionally
about
numb.
some like great man theory or something? Like, what is he doing? What did he do? He's like some great force.
He's going over it like as if the amount of bad information we get fed makes us numb and then we don't want to do anything because we become numb. Like that's not the case at all. Like we on the ground in the real world are getting organized, and this like numbness thing is he's talking purely about it as like a self-improvement and a social media in the first world type shit, but in the real world, people are resisting this, people are getting organized, people are fighting back against this capitalist system. As Anthony said in the chat, the problem is with the class that controls the technology, not with the technology itself.
He lives in a world where the bourgeois rule is the only thing that exists. I'd argue that the 1984 stuff, like, where everything is, like, I'd argue that, like, the 1984 stuff is, like, self-imposed, right? You basically, like, view the world in the way of, like, oh my god, it's 1984, it's like, the government watches me masturbate and, like, and, it's a mindset you impose onto yourself. Like, sometimes there is just individual petty bourgeois mindset. Right? It's like a mindset of hopelessness, like everything is a horrible dystopia because the bourgeoisie controls everything. But let's not actually do anything to stop the bourgeoisie. Let's just mindlessly go, wee!
Welcome to anarchism. On that note, we just hit 1,700 subscribers.
1,700 subscribers, what the hell?
I had 500 at the beginning of the year. That's funny. Anyway, let's continue with what he talks in Emotional Numbness. We can continue after this.
Are revolts, which is something that I already briefly touched upon, which is emotional numbness through overstimulation. You see, there's something very powerful that happens when we don't fill up every ounce of free time we have with doom scrolling. When you don't consume a podcast with headphones on every single time you step outside for a walk, when you don't scroll while your water bottle is filling up, when you don't default to TikTok or Instagram Reels every time something bad happens in your life to escape the reality of that bad thing, patterns in your life start to emerge. Problems once thought to be unsolvable slowly figure themselves out in your head when you allow your mind space to breathe. When you give your brain time to process the amount of stimuli you consumed in 2 hours that would have...
Wait, it's gonna get even worse. Hold on.
Stop it for a second.
Enough to
Hold on, like, let's talk about this section, because it could be a section of its own. It could be a section of its own. Why do you have to, like, say this is, like, an individual thing, right? Why not say, like, why not advocate for replacing, like, the podcast and stuff with, like, theory readings, right?
Oh, because he's more concerned about growing his YouTube channel and, like complaining about it.
You could easily replace, like, the TikTok stuff, like the TikTok. You could easily replace podcasts with, like, Marxist-Leninist theory reading. Like, what you're doing right now, you watching this, is infinitely better than listening to this guy's advice, okay?
But also, like, he's framing it as, like, everyone's just doom scrolling, and, I'm not gonna strawman, but it's basically this. Like, the average person does not spend their entire free time doom scrolling. You have to have a job to feed yourself and your family. You cook, you clean, you take shit around the house, you do sports and shit. Like, it's not just doom scrolling and mindless, like, main numbing. This is not what real people do. He's like, himself dramatizing it.
When I doom scroll, I only doom scroll for 5 minutes, and for, like, maybe 3 YouTube channels that upload YouTube shorts that are, like, meme compilations that I find to be really funny. Like, oh my god, why would you type this?
Yes.
And, like, you could weaponize all of this stuff for, like, class consciousness, for, like, you know, expanding your mind, class consciousness, proletarianism, real, like, fucking struggles, right? You could replace, like, you could say, hey man, why don't you, like, subscribe to these, like, different TikToks that post, like, informative Marxist stuff, or, like, stuff that's actually kind of informative and entertaining.
This reminds me of a thing. Sorry. Yeah, this reminds me of a thing I do myself, which is instead of actually getting started on my fucking schoolwork, just looking through YouTube at people, like, showing their best Notion layout, best Obsidian layout, how do they organize themselves, how to be more productive. But, like, by doing this, I'm not actually being productive myself. I don't contribute to a larger goal of my own education.
It's like me watching. It's basically me watching fucking YouTube videos on what's it called? On fucking like anything I come across. It's like I could be using that time to read theory or like complete Half-Life 1 so I could play like Half-Life 2. You know what I mean? Because Half-Life 2 is a great game on like imperialism and colonialism or whatever. But like, yeah, I could be doing that to expand like to study Marxism-Leninism, but I just don't because like it's fine, but like it's a human. It's like because like we're human beings, we're flawed, but you can definitely weaponize some of your worst tendencies for the betterment of the movement and yourself.
Yeah. I'll be right
'Cause
back.
when
I
you
need to
work
fill up
for-
my water.
Because when will you be able to hear me? Because like when you do stuff for the movement, like you personally get better, like mentally. Helping others helps yourself. That's the thing. Helping others helps yourself. It's a great thing. Me doing this is not just for me, but it's for like the movement as a whole. I intend on starting a YouTube channel of my own. In fact, I sent a screenshot to Charlitics over here.
Hosha is the iris. Alright, let's continue with this emotional numbness stuff.
Kill a Victorian child, you start to realize something. You start to realize, wait a second, there actually are tangible ways out of this shitty situation. And come to think of it, I'm actually enraged that I'm in this situation in the first place. And what are the forces that be, the systemic issues that are causing me to feel so shitty? As much as some people might disagree, anger and being completely fed up with where you are and how the world works is often the only way to get pushed to the point where people will
so I ask again, will you say my name? Sorry, I'm listening.
We're trying to watch this. Sorry. We're in the emotional numbness.
Every time you say numb, it reminds me of Metal Gear Solid. Invisible Duran.
And that cannot happen if you are heavily sedated through modern forms of escapism like social media, pornography, and a video game addiction. I'm not against video games, by the way, but they are very easy to get addicted to and slip into for hours and hours at a time.
Factorial.
Just escape a shitty situation that you might have the
so
power
like
to
you're hold on again. This is demonizing like something that could be used for like proletarian consciousness, like class consciousness, okay? Okay, so like listen to me, okay? There are great video games like Disco Elysium, like Half-Life 2, like I don't know, like there are games that do promote some level of like understanding of class consciousness and can be explained through a Marxist framework. And there are great games that you should totally play. And there are also games that like, you can just mindlessly play through, kind of, sort of, like turn half your brain off. That you can use to like listen to fucking Socialism for All, like the YouTube channel, like the theories and stuff. Like you can listen to theory. Like video games can absolutely be used for Marxist theory, can be used for your studying, and I hate the demonization of video games. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't think it's like demonized right here, but it feels like he's talking about slop. I mean, like personally, the way I consume like theory is just I sit down with a book or audiobook and I jot down notes at the same time. But like,
it's kind of ironic because
media can be used by actual independent people to
guy has a whole
promote class consciousness.
This guy has a whole video game set up blurred right in the background. We can fucking see that shit, dude.
Thing that this
You can see it, dude. You're not hiding anything.
Spread is this collective view that protesting and demonstrating, getting yourself out there in that way, is inherently performative or just seen as a virtue signal. Now, there's undoubtedly a lot of influencers out there who post about some tragedy that's happened in the world, not to raise awareness, but to act like they
very
give a
often.
Shit.
Just wanted to come on here and say I do stand for what's right, and what's right now is Black lives do matter, and white people do have white privilege. So It's unfortunate.
I think it's
but,
some Lopez
fill
guy.
the
I've
comments
heard of
with
him,
the
but I don't
fist
really
and
know.
Spread the positivity and love.
Holy
So,
liberalism.
But I fear that social media
Liberalism.
has turned the act of revolting
Some
into something that
liberal.
is seen as cringeworthy or too try-hard in nature. If you do actually care, it's often automatically labeled as performative because the way protests and other forms of revolt are portrayed on social media is usually through the lens of comedy, memes, or insults. Something adjacent to this that really grinds my gears these days is when people say they aren't political. I'm not gonna lie,
Regarding the specific segment, like
Okay,
a lot of it is performative. Like an example, the liberals, like everyone's seen like the liberals like fucking doing yoga in front of ICE detention facilities. It's not meaningful.
A lot of protesting is performative, but there are plenty of protests that you don't hear about that are like successful and have been like, you know, very good. That have been like that are not performative. There are plenty of genuine like strikes and like all these things like walkouts that have been done that are like really good. And social media only like the social media does actually like only really go over like the non-successful ones, like the No Kings protest. Oh my god. But yeah, protest when it comes to like liberalism was not very active. Because
No, there's no vanguard, there's no direction to the endless
There's no
movementism.
Liberals like to pretend that they're like liberals like the LARP as fucking social justice warriors of like the 60s and 70s. But like they don't understand what made the social justice like movement so good. Hint, it was a fucking vanguard. Like there was Black Panthers and stuff. There was parties behind all of this, like the NAACP. There was like genuine full-on like parties and stuff. Like the way you do like movements, the way you do protests is through Marxism-Leninism. Like strikes are the art of action. And you know, it's like protesting is good, definitely. But to say that like it's all performative lacks what he would call nuance and analysis. What I call analysis.
until like a few years ago, this was kind of me. I thought caring about politics was just another psyop that didn't really change anything, and you're just trying to make yourself seem right. And I'm sure there's a lot of that, but like everybody is political, okay? The whole thing about not being political is a psyop. The fact that you think you cannot be political about something, and I'm not saying I agree with the two-party system. I think it is, you know, it's not a good system, but saying you are not political is the psyop.
Okay, like
saying
politics.
Hold on, let's finish this segment. There's like 30 seconds left.
Don't care about politics
I'm
and
sorry.
being fed up with the world is a contradiction.
Yeah, man, I'm not really too big on politics, but anyways, let me tell you about how much I hate my job, my boss, my landlord, my shitty health insurance, my student loans, my city's public transportation, the fact that I come home too tired to do anything after work every day, the fact that groceries cost double what they used to, the fact that no one can afford a home, the fact that my rent eats half of my paycheck, the endless wait times at the hospital, and how depressing the news always is. But yeah, man, I'm just not really big on politics.
Trust me, big government loves hearing you say stuff like that because it
Big government.
reinforces another reason why we all
okay, so like the whole like feel good politics stuff is like anarchism and stuff basically. Like, you know, you do politics to feel good. That is true. That is like a lot of politics, right? That is a lot of politics. But in order to actually get like genuinely serious and lock in and, you know, seem like, because like Marxist-Leninists, I've said this on Blue Sky and I'll say this again. Marxism-Leninism are the Marxist-Leninists, like Hojists, are the only motherfuckers who know this shit ain't a game. They actively internally acknowledge this shit ain't a game. That you can't really pick and choose your own politics. Like there's only one form of politics that'll work. And I bet you can't guess which one it is.
And this, I'm very, very much so struggling to understand what he says, what he means when he says big government. It's like in his mind, it's like, oh, the whole two-party system is bad, therefore we must form a third liberal party.
Little government, liberal. Small
let's
tiny
see where
little
this
government.
brings us.
but nothing actually changes. The extreme divide between the average citizen. We've gotten to the point where sharing different opinions from someone
Oh
is
my
immediately
God.
labeled as wrong and a threat to another person because productive dialogue is simply incompatible on these
Yes.
platforms that encourage
Sometimes
rage
it
baiting
is.
True.
and quick, incomplete hits of misinformation. Everybody thinks they
True,
have the
yeah.
true, objective, correct
Sometimes it
answer
is.
to all of society and the world's problems, and nobody wants
It's
to
the most
listen
petty
to
board.
anyone
No,
else's
they don't
solution
really.
that doesn't confirm their
Everybody
pre-existing
says
beliefs.
this.
Getting into useful debates and
Everybody says
discussions
this,
that
by the way.
actually
Pause.
promote some sort of
Hold on,
change
stop it.
requires some of that space that I talked about
Pause.
earlier. It requires
He's gonna get into the point. Hold on.
Everybody says everybody won't listen to everybody else. That's so fucking stupid. Why would you say that?
It's
That's
like
the most
portraying
dumbass-
those two like. Oh, actually,
That's the
let me
most-
reframe this. It's like portraying like the Marxist analysis of the state and the capitalism with the conservative reactionary idealist conception that big government bad and shit. It's not a fair comparison. It's like portraying both Marxist and fucking Nazis as both dogmatists. But one side's dogmatist, the other's scientific.
Both Maoists and Hojis. That's what bad mouse wanted. That's what bad mouse
Bad
said, by
mouse.
the way.
Oh yeah.
think and conceptualize your argument to strengthen it and articulate it in a good way without immediately saying, this thing bad, this thing good. And instead of collectively coming together to fight our common enemy, big tech and authoritarian governments,
What?
we start blaming trivial matters like minorities or other people who don't look or think like us. Like, I promise you,
Well, hold on,
dude,
let's read
the
this, let's read
reason
this,
that
let's
you
read
get
this.
paid pennies
Fuck.
for your 9 to 5 and
I
you
wanted to
come
read the
home
tweet.
miserable and goon for 1 hour.
Yeah, goon for 1 hour. That's what everyone does, of course.
I wanted to read the tweet. Okay,
Oh my god.
because of you, companies don't hire men anymore. They hire minorities, LGBTQ. DEI hires visas.
But hold on, this
Science
he's
is-
showing Twitter discourse when the actual fucking example of this is what he's doing right now. Like thinking of himself as the enlightened, like
That's
centrist individual,
literally-
while portraying
am-
both sides or like, as like
Okay, it's
Worse.
basically
Minorities.
it's literally just a fucking it's the train meme. Everybody else is a schizoid, and I'm the only intelligent one. And like, I'm not gonna get into the tweet because it's obviously wrong in every single way if there's any form of class analysis. But it's
There's
like
not.
the train meme. Everybody, like, if you do any form of class analysis, this tweet is wrong. But if it's like the train meme, everybody else is a schizoid, insane asshole, and I'm the enlightened Chad centrist.
Or other people who don't look or think like us. Like, I
he's doing the whole two sides bad, and you have to seek nuance between the two extremes. Like, fuck.
promise you, dude, the reason that you get paid pennies for your 9 to 5 and you come home miserable and goon for 1 hour isn't because your favorite hockey team is celebrating Pride Month. That is exactly the type of thing that these big corporations want you to get mad at because it keeps us fighting among each other
True.
instead of coming together. And social media has been an incredible tool for reinforcing
Coming
that
together.
division.
Hold
and I'm
on.
not saying that
Wow, that's
entertainment
crazy.
itself is the enemy.
Yeah, do we
Humans
need
have
some
been
kind of
entertaining
unity?
themselves since the dawn of time to escape the hardships of life. Like,
I mean, no, entertainment is not just
Like-
to escape the hardships of life. Entertainment often is just entertainment. It's not always to
that-
escape something.
I don't think he's like advocating for like the workers of the world unite type thing. Like, I
He's
think
not.
this is more or less just like he's saying we need to unite in a fascist way. This is like him accidentally spouting Mussolini fascism, bro.
Well, in his case, it's just like your average liberal who wants like social democracy and alleviation of the conditions that he describes there, but at home, not abroad. He doesn't care about like people in the global south.
doesn't.
He doesn't mention them. He doesn't know how they live.
He does not give a shit. He doesn't think about the people in the global south. He doesn't think about
We
anybody
all-
outside his own borders. He is a social chauvinist.
ways are going to need a temporary bout of escapism,
Whether he wants to be
in
one or
some
not.
healthy form, to keep going in life, man.
Oh
Like,
my
sometimes
fucking god.
It's not just
no.
that. Is this guy depressed?
Healthy
we
form of
need to forget
escapism.
who
What
we
the
are
fuck
and
is
escape
wrong
into
with
some
him?
form of entertainment. That's a really important aspect of life. It's these contemporary forms of entertainment
How do I
and
forget who I
spectacle that are
am in Red Dead
psychologically
Redemption
designed to
2?
keep you scrolling, exhausted, distracted, and angry that are the problem. And this is why I feel most of our efforts to create
So how do you
meaningful
separate from the?
change
How
in
do you
world
separate the
fall
two?
short. These new forms of entertainment have made it feel
So
like no
what the
matter
fuck?
what we do or no matter how hard we try,
What the
nothing is going
fuck?
to change. So the
Oh, there he goes talking about some
Boy
Boy
slop.
slop.
Boy slop. Oh my god.
They're
Oh
feeding
my
us
god.
goy slop. Just get up and cook, man. Everybody's
You
cooking.
can you can tell that what this man like. This man is so close to genuine Hitlerism. Holy shit. Genuine Mussolini type fascism, bro. This is like you can tell where this man is
Oh, yeah,
leading.
safest thing to do
This man
is
is like
retreat back
one
into the
one
comfort
click away
of
from
distraction.
blaming the Jews
Now
for
we
everything.
scroll, we laugh at the absurdity of it all, we complain to our friends, and then we move on to whatever next video, outrage, or algorithm the feed presents us with, blaming our circumstances on things that have nothing at all to do with them.
Is this projection? Like, we actually organize in real life.
Like he is projecting. He is genuinely like projecting. There's
Like-
no mention of like the only mention of the bourgeoisie there is like at the very beginning. He does not mention the bourgeoisie at all. Basically, like he's saying, "Oh my god, things have nothing to do with them." Like, okay, so what do I blame it on? Like, where do I blame it on? I mean, hint, I have the answer. Like, well, I want to hear what you want to say. You know what I mean? We have what? How long do we got?
8 minutes more.
8 minutes more.
Confusing
All
and
right.
dividing us even further. So how do we actually start moving shit in a positive direction? If forces we can't
Revolution.
see or hear that are unreachable, yet we know are
Marxism-Leninism.
there, are intentionally making the lives of the average person more unenjoyable and less stable, how do we break
32
down
people.
a Berlin Wall that we cannot see?
Oh my fucking
well,
god.
Firstly, and I already stressed this a bit, you
Marxism,
have to
Leninism.
have the capacity
Break down a Berlin
to
Wall.
get emotional enough and fed up enough to actually want to do something about it. Think
No, it's class consciousness. What you're
You have to be
my God.
emotional. You have to be emotional, guys. You have to be feelings. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, no class analysis. Like, what the fuck?
my
Do you,
God.
can I, like, do I think? Can I think? Can I, oh my god. Okay,
Things are
I'm
gonna feel
tweaking
just-
out here. This guy is so fucking
just okay enough if you keep engaging with mindless distraction that either numbs you to the systemic issues you know are affecting you or makes you feel hopeless because a lot of that stimulation is just bad news without any tangible solution. As cringe and cliche as it sounds, problems don't feel like problems until you sit with them in silence. That's why when you lay your head down on the pillow at night, your head
You have to
won't
lay your
shut
head
up
down, guys.
about
No class
everything
analysis.
that's wrong with your current life because it's finally given the space to talk to you about those things.
I mean, this reflection, like, it
You
has
have
to be like
to-
collective. People have to get together and discuss class. Like, this is
You
why you
have
need to
to-
organize within like parallel organizations that infiltrate worker unions, whatever the fuck. But you need to talk to your coworkers about class. You need to talk to your friends about class. Not being like a chud who only talks about communism, because that's annoying as hell. But like, just you don't.
You have No,
Anyway.
you don't get it. You have to lay down and fucking cry and masturbate. How about how everything sucks and just like ignore the bourgeoisie. You don't get it.
Step 2
That's
is
so-
a greater call to action. Let's see what he has to say about this.
Call myself out here too, by the way.
Oh, of
Secondly,
course,
there
it was
needs to
projection.
be a greater call to action after awareness. Now, this isn't to say that protesting, getting out there, making some sort of sign, and making a certain movement more aware is ineffective. It absolutely does
Might
raise
as well tell us
awareness
to go out
and
and
brings
vote.
to light some issues that people maybe weren't even aware of, and then maybe that makes enough of them fed up to actually join in on the movement too. But often there isn't a clear sense
doesn't
of
address
direction
the
or
fundamental
solution
class.
after the fact. Another
problems
YouTube creator,
with
Deja, made a
bourgeois
great video on
society.
this topic where she discussed how protesting actually isn't meant to be the solution. It's only meant to agitate, disrupt, and bring people together. But after the fact, people often just revert back to regular life as if...
Oh yeah, I have a book about this. I'll be right back in 2 seconds, gang.
Like, this is right. This is what he's saying here isn't necessarily. It's actually like right on some level because I have people will genuinely sit back down and just like do nothing after protesting. People will genuinely think. I can't hear the like hitting it on the table.
Some fucking guy wrote about this 100 years ago. About how
yeah,
movementism and protests without a clear direction are ineffective. It's not about a lack of self-reflection. It's about the nature of capitalism, the state, and why we need a revolution. There we go.
This is like, bro, just read What Is to Be Done by Vladimir Lenin. Oh my god, he's evil. Well, clearly, if you think Lenin is evil, you need to get rid of some of that moralism up in that bitch, right?
I feel like he's the kind of guy to call Lenin a dictator.
Yeah, he's
Zero
literally
analysis of history.
genuinely the kind of guy to call Lenin a dictator. He will use Marxist sounding phrases, but then just not do anything of substance. Also, I can't really see I can't see your webcam on my the screen share for some reason.
Oh no, I'm not sharing it because my webcam doesn't work with this. It's just my phone streaming to OBS. I can't duplicate it.
Sure what to do next. So first, let's just talk about on an individual level, what you can do right now by yourself. Here's what I would tell you to do.
Individual.
Start boycotting the shit that you think is ruining the world. You think AI is making people dumber and spreading misinformation? Cancel your ChatGPT subscription.
Okay, question.
Do you hate seeing these social media companies make millions
Okay,
off
hold
of
on,
these
hold on.
5-second ads
If they
in
stop
between 20
giving-
seconds?
He's not done with the point. It's the same point until the end of the thing.
Okay.
Of scrolling and blasting your retinas with stupid stimulation, then delete the apps or try to use them as little as possible. Find out all the consumer products that these companies own, which is almost fucking all of them, and try to not engage or buy anything from them as much as is reasonably possible. Secondly,
So it's individualizing the issue. I mean, yes, there is of course, for everyone, self-improvement is obviously something we all need to work on, but in the framework that you are stopping the slopification of your own consumption and you start to read Marxist theory, you organize and you make an actual effort to change the system via organizing. You don't change anything by boycotting products individually in your life.
Me not buying Monster Energy does not stop the bourgeois society, right? Like, I know Monster Energy is doing terrible things, right? But if I stop buying from them, then that does nothing, right? But you have to organize these boycotts. You can't just tell people to boycott. You can't put mass strike now. I'm calling out a specific Twitter user over here. You can't put mass strike now in your username, expect people to strike. That is not how it fucking works. And also, he's encouraging people to buy from the petty bourgeoisie, but what do you do when the petty bourgeoisie becomes the bourgeoisie? Or just stops being petty bourgeoisie and becomes proletarian.
We and you need leverage. Again, this is something Deja emphasized, but power does not accrue from simply getting more and more people to join a movement. You need leverage from people who have the power to actually sustain those movements and enact the changes. A huge part of the reason stuff like labor movements or civil rights.
Let's just
Let's have him finish his point. It's 2 minutes. Or 1 minute, sorry. In
movement and even the fall of the Berlin Wall succeeded in the
again with the fucking fall of the Berlin Wall. What is this analysis?
Bro,
oh my God.
What is your obsession with East Germany? Are you upset that the Nazis lost World War II? Are you upset the Nazis lost World War II and that the Soviets kicked your ass and took Berlin?
past was because they
What a
negotiated
fucking
contracts,
cock.
filed lawsuits, pushed legislation, and built networks that could sustain pressure for years. Mutual aid was also an incredibly important aspect of most of these. When workers went on strike in the early 20th century, they didn't just walk off the job and hope things would work out. They had unions, and those unions built strike funds to help workers pay for food and rent while they weren't receiving wages. They organized community kitchens, their families supported one another. That's the sort of infrastructure that allows these strikes and protests to last
Advocating
for weeks
for-
and months or even years, which is sometimes how long it takes to force
Okay.
these companies or the government to negotiate contracts and actually enact the change. Leverage is what turns this outrage into consequence, because without it, it just runs the risk of being symbolic. It runs the risk of being a movement where people are having awareness raised about this thing, and we think, yeah, it's really bad, but no one actually has the power to reach the institutions that are required to reach in order for something to happen.
He
It's
has
so
a part
tiresome.
of it down,
Yeah.
but like he has to. What the problem is, right? Like something like the civil rights movement was only for one thing. It wasn't a party. It wasn't something that was aiming to fundamentally change the change the world, right?
Mm.
It was something that they wanted civil rights, and they got the civil rights. It was like, but like something like the Bolsheviks were aimed to overthrow the czarist government and did it successfully. Like when it comes to like a movement, when it comes to a protest, when it comes to something, it's always the goals of said movement, protest, whatever, and how it's done. The goals don't necessarily. The goals are a part of it too, but like there's also like the how it's done, the practicality. You have to do things intelligently. You have to study. You have to learn. You have to lock in. You know what I mean?
Mm. He doesn't mention the Black Panther Party, which were like the
Of
goats of
course.
mutual aid, because they were Marxist-Leninists. But like, in
I would never mention
like-
just Stalinist evil government.
it's all about like authoritarian government and organizing about like there's no
We need
talk
to
about having
vote.
an analysis of the capitalist system. He doesn't talk about the economic base at the root of all this. But I'm sure in the 3 minutes
need
left,
to-
he's gonna switch up and, of course, convince us to
go.
become Marxist. Of course.
We're gonna hear loud loud version of the fucking Red Army is the strongest. He's gonna rip off his face, reveal Lenin said, "That's right, guys. I've been alive all along." And just recommend what is to be done by Vladimir Lenin. It's gonna be cinema. He's gonna say it's
If you're
Lenining
looking
time.
for those communities and infrastructures that do possess some of that power, the first place to start is local, and the internet can actually be an incredibly useful tool here if you use it with a specific goal in mind instead of just consuming whatever gets thrown at you. Start by searching for organizations in your city that are already working on the issue you care about. If you're sick of housing costs in your city, type out tenant
Okay.
union plus your city into Google. If you're fed up with people in your community struggling to afford basic necessities, search mutual aid plus your city. If you're frustrated with wages, workplace conditions, or job security, search labor union plus your city. Most cities already have some form of these groups, and many of them operate through websites, email lists, or something like Slack or Discord, where they coordinate their real-world action.
No, the real organizations
It has-
coordinate on Matrix and fucking I
The
forgot.
problem with this is it has to be the
Signal.
problem is this has to be a union cannot just be a union. If you want to do real change, you have to be part of a real big movement, a party, something like the American Party of Labor, or just the American Party of Labor, because that's the only like proper communist party in the United States of America. But it has to be, you have to actually be a part of a major big movement. Sure, you can make small steps, but it has to be small steps in a large fucking movement.
No, it has to be individuals like improving their own conditions immediately with labor unions. Like, I get it. It's a start to join a labor union, but a lot of them are very
Petty bourgeois.
like if you join a labor union, you'll find quickly, at least in Quebec, right, or in Canada or the USA,
A
that
lot of labor.
a lot of unions have like a very reactionary direction, and they don't actually care about like bringing on systemic change. They want a compromise with the bosses because, of course, they're salaried.
It's essentially social fascism, basically.
Mm.
There is a book called by, I think, Fadut,
Yeah.
Social. Fuck, I was gonna look it up. Social fascism.
S4A has it up on the channel.
It's called Fascism and Social Revolution by Rajani Palmdut.
That's a very good book. Very, very good book.
Oh, there's also one by Browder.
But yeah, like it's naive to think that you can like change the material conditions of people simply with labor union or with a tenant union. It's a start, but you have to use these as like ways to like meet people who you will organize with, and actually read Marxist theory, not
LARP as though you've read Marxist theory.
I mean, it's not just LARP. He's advocating for people to actually join worker unions, but like it's very it's surface level, let's say.
Another thing you can use the internet for is to identify who actually has influence over the issue you're concerned about. If it's a company, look up their major clients, investors, or partnerships. If it's a local policy, find out which council members or committees are responsible for it. If it's a landlord or development company,
your local
properties
oh my
they own
fucking
and which
god,
banks
bro.
finance them. Then once
that's what I was told, like as I was beginning to just like stop being a liberal.
Your attention. As far as eliciting change on a grander scale, trying to take down
this is what I was told as I was being like,
you would need some insane level of leverage, but to be honest, those smaller local movements is what influences the larger movements, the more global movements of change.
Hey,
I mean, no, it's not just like an addition of like separate movements.
Mr. Dollar Store H1T1, what kind of leverage would I need? What movement? What kind of leverage? What kind of movement would I need? What kind of thing should I do? What is to be done, Mr. Dollar Store H1T1? What is to be done?
Oh, there's people in the Badam Panada server telling me that he's streaming at the same time and they want to watch my stream.
Yeah, what is to be done? Hey, we could do one more video. We could do one more video if they want to join.
I have to go after this video.
Yeah, you caught that, right? You caught that, right?
But wait, hold on. Wait, big. US to allow Russian oil tanker to reach Cuba, breaking the blockade. I hope this is true. I hope this works through Freestyle Skate 27. But yeah, let's keep on watching this because what he's saying is essentially like an amalgamation of like disconnected movements are going to bring about change, but no, the nature of these movements have to be revolutionary.
They have to be connected and revolutionary.
Are not hopeless in our digitized, hyper-reality, apathetic, overpriced world. I'm sure that you've spent at least some sort of time thinking about a world in which we use all of these technological advancements to benefit the greatest amount of people, and I don't think it's as far off as you might think. You just need to be fucking inspired more on a daily basis, man, to get that juice and that energy to fucking stand up and do something about life. Get involved in something greater than yourself. Join clubs, engage with different forms of art, taste the flavors of life.
I don't think we need
help
to.
a stranger,
I think this
face
is...
your problems instead of escaping them for another day and allowing them to grow worse. I'm gonna sound sappy here. I don't give a shit. You are capable of way more than you could ever
genuinely.
imagine.
People have already heard.
Truly believe
people have already heard this like so much. This is like not even like new stuff. He's presenting it like it's new, and that's what liberals tend to do.
It's not profound.
They present new information. They present old information as though it's profound. They will tell you to like go They will tell you to go drink water if you're. They'll tell you to go drink water if you're thirsty and present it as though it's profound. They will tell you that the sky is blue as though it's some profound bullshit, even though the sky isn't technically blue. It's like it doesn't really have a color because color is a thing for our retinas, right? That's just the atmosphere bouncing off our eyes. That's what the sky is. But yeah, he will present the liberals will present this bullshit as though it's like the most profound bullshit known to mankind.
Like it's some vaguely reformist stuff. Like he thinks of labor unions and tenant unions, right, as a framework where you can pressure for policy change, but it doesn't address the whole systemic issue.
I can guarantee
he doesn't
you
address it on a systemic basis.
I
And I think he's correct in the you could achieve more than you imagine. For example, when joining a communist organization, when starting to put a poster, when engaging with people, you are doing your part for the revolution. But for that, you have to be connected to the masses. You have to be engaged in a struggle. You have to be actually politically engaged. And it's not just by joining a union and not doing anything else.
The single most frustrating part about liberal petty bourgeois consciousness is that like the liberals will genuinely say like they will be part of the way there, but not a whole lot of the way there. They will say some bullshit that sounds like, oh yes, you're partially the way there, but then just like backtrack on it and just go full reformist.
Let's see if it gets better in the last minute of this.
Same thing with like conservatives too, right?
You feel like you are not getting the power that you feel like you deserve in a certain area of life.
Oh boy, it's not an individual basis, it's a collective project.
You need either creative movement.
Oh, let me know if he says something interesting. I'm gonna take a piss.
What does he need? Create a movement.
Why do I need to create a movement? I'm not the main character.
With the power to attain that power. Identify the source of your unfulfillment and the people you care about. Find the communities, find the pressure points.
But you're not directing anybody towards like a movement.
That
people who have these like kinds of
something positive.
People like Hassan who have this like platform to tell people to go do shit. Could easily like go do stuff, go actually achieve things. So, but like this is the thing with like Louis Rossman. I don't really like the Clippy movement, but this is like a good thing he did, right? Like he channels like his audience to go do things in real life, and I do appreciate that. Like, but like people like Hassan, people like this cuck, they don't do a damn thing. They just kind of tell people to go do stuff, and they never actually like do things. Like somebody like okay, Lenin had a huge fucking he intentionally built himself up like an audience with those newspapers and stuff. And he kept telling people like, hey man, this is the situation you're in. This is what you can do. Come join the Russian Communist Party, the Bolsheviks, and you can like and this is what you got to do. You have to do all these things. This is Marx, and this is why he's like actually kind of low-key goated. That's what Lenin did. That's what Lenin did, and that's how we got people like Stalin and everybody else on board with the Bolsheviks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a Mark. What's his name? Bestie Marx has a whole YouTube series on him. It's like one of the best YouTube series on YouTube.
I fucking love Bestie Marx.
Oh my god, it's genuinely like worth watching as like a Marxist. I put that shit on the level of like actual theory. It's like so good.
I mean, it all is. Is there a single Bestie Marx video that isn't good? Like the video about Lenin's formula for revolution and what Lenin understood about organizing, absolutely fucking peak. The rest is like history and very, very good analysis. I really love what they're putting out.
Modern YouTube videos are just a more advanced form of theory, and I don't get why people still do booklets and stuff.
Yeah.
Just upload YouTube videos. That has a broader range. People aren't really reading that often anymore.
Absolutely. Video essays are awesome.
That's why we do audiobooks, people. That's why we do audiobooks.
Yeah. Something I like
And
about Bestie Marx also is
American-
that like in the past like years it was mostly about like how like Zionism came to be, how bad Zionism is, and what labor and left and liberal Zionism are. And I'm glad it's like going from this to because it's an audience of like anti-Zionists. A lot of anti-Zionists are also on the right for the wrong reasons. But then he's starting to put on
American-
like 1917 revolutionary history, Lenin's theory of revolution, bringing in anti-Zionists to the Marxist
the
side.
American Party of Labor does a great thing with like the podcasts they do, but like
Yeah.
I feel like they need a whole like net of like they need to start looking into more like YouTubers and stuff.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because like we're basically doing what they probably should have done for them, right? Like uploading YouTube videos promoting the American Party of Labor. Hell, somebody
Podcasts
might
and
be
analysis
watching
are
this
very,
right now.
very worthwhile.
Like, yes, of
something-
course, the YouTube videos, analysis, and whatnot are actually like insanely good. They're. I don't think we need to watch any more of this. He's just basically like doing like liberal like positivity slop.
I mean, there's like 30
Like, oh
seconds
my
left.
God.
Tech and authoritarian
Okay.
regimes drain the joy out of human existence.
What?
Authoritarian.
Do not let big tech and authoritarian regimes
What the fuck do you go on about authoritarian regimes? This you don't define
What
what this is, and it's a completely liberal framework. What is
an
authoritarianism? You don't define it. He's making it seem like it's not about class; it's about power. Isolated
Yeah,
in a vacuum.
and
drain
who
the
like
joy
who
out of
has the power? You know what I mean?
human existence. Holding
Who has
hope and
power?
optimism is your greatest act of rebellion against
No, it's not.
these chuds. And actually,
No, it is
Chuds,
not.
chuds. Oh my god.
Mindless optimism gets
Doing
optimism gets you nowhere.
thing about these forces is possible. Everything's gonna be good and cool, but it's probably gonna get
Do
at least a little bit
something.
worse before
Bro,
things
shut the
get
fuck
really
up.
cool. But it might not take as much time if you actually do something about it.
They
after this
tell you
video.
to do
Let me know your thoughts
something, right? This is
on
like
what I
this is
just
like
talked
what
about.
early
Maybe fill in some gaps.
this is
that
what
I
early
didn't talk about
socialism
at
for all. Like if you look at his like YouTube comments and stuff, I remember he once wrote a comment saying like read Bordiga and do something. This is like early S4A, not modern S4A. They always tell you to do something, but they never really tell you like anything effective to do.
It's bad. Like
It's just
everyone
bad.
in the comments talking about after Occupy Wall Street, everything was socially engineered to promote slacktivism. Everyone wants to bring change, but nobody wants to do the work. But like at the end of the day,
Why didn't it exist before Occupy Wall Street?
like everyone's talking about this video and this topic in an individual basis as self-improvement, and like something that's important to stress is that yes, self-improvement has its place, but what is the place? Fucking
could do another-
improving yourself for the
Hey, we could do
evolution.
another video to another stream tomorrow. That'd be kind of sick because
I can't really tomorrow, but we'll find another time because these videos are just fucking gems. Oh my
yeah, I
god.
keep finding these on my on my page, and it's just like,
I
oh
think-
my god.
Yeah, I think the Oompaville video should be nice.
Or the
Debunking.
Oompa video.
Yeah.
Oompaville should be next. People are gonna be people have already asked for the Oompaville video, and we're gonna provide the
Absolutely.
Oompaville video.
All right.
I've been listening to lo-fi this entire fucking time, so this was like slightly more bearable. Alright, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom.
Of course. So that was Iris with me on the stream. From the Anti-Revisionist Marxist Education Society, whatever, Discord server where we yap about Marxism-Leninism and Enver Hoxha. So one thing I want to stress about Cole's whole framing is, first of all, it's in a very liberal idealist conception of authority in the state, where people rebel or revolt in a vacuum disconnected to like the economic base. Why do people feel like this? It's because we are exploited by a capitalist system which promotes and shitifies services for the pursuit of further profit. And Cole avoids talking about capitalism, class, and he dives into this language of talking about the chuds and soy jacks and gooning and goy slop and authoritarianism. But when you talk about something, authoritarianism, for example, you need to define what you're talking about, because right now he's equating like people revolting, like a significant minority of people revolting against a revisionist socialist states, which had better outcomes than West Germany, by talking about East Germany. I don't know why he's so obsessed with the Berlin Wall. It's like an analogy that doesn't really have its place in there. Like the first part was protest of the past, and it frames revolutions as a thing of the past, a historical event that's not gonna happen. And it dives into why we start just entertaining ourselves, seeing bad stuff. Like, it's not profound. An emotional numbness is not really a thing. Like, we numb ourselves to like the violence, but it's because it becomes so normalized. But it doesn't prevent us from seeking actual action. Like, right now, yeah, it is end of history type shit. It's frustrating to hear, really. And when he talks about the extreme divide, it's like he thinks of the culture war as something that's promoted by the authoritarian big government and the two-party system, but he doesn't explain what the way out of this is. He doesn't explain who these people are, what the ideology is, what the economic like starters of this are. And when looking at the rest of the content, right, it's a lot of like it's slop that's trying to get people into self-improvement, like being chronically offline, but like you're still making these pseudo-intellectual videos. I wonder what the most popular content is. Yeah, stop caring, unfuck your life, and that's the problem with like self improvement or whatever the fuck. It individualizes systemic issues, and it's trying to get people into like well, in his case, into tenant unions, labor unions, but he's not recommending anything. Like, you don't make systemic change just with a labor union or a tenant union, right? These represent your individual interests as workers or tenants or whatever it may be. Hell, he wasn't even talking about like picking up piano lessons or studying some like personal stuff, but you need to join a political organization with a political goal, a goal of turning the working class into a political power that can challenge the current capitalist system. One way we have it here, I'm going to promote, of course, in Quebec we have Alliance Ouvrière, or Worker Alliance. We have chapters in Quebec City, in Montreal too, right now. And the goal of this is what I said, to take the working class and make them into a political power. And this is also done by going at protests every once in a while and distributing a lot of pamphlets to educate people on how work itself is a place of conflict. And in the United States, yeah, American Party of Labor. In Quebec or in Canada right now, the best thing we have, the least revisionist thing we have, is the, in parentheses, new Communist Party of Canada, the NCPC, which adopts a Marxist-Leninist Maoist line, though not that hard on the Maoist side. And there's a lot of good stuff in the political program here. And the railroad, chemin de fer, la voie ferrée. La voie ferrée is the magazine we have. Sorry, but I'm not engaged in the writing of these. So yeah, APL is worth joining if you're in the USA. Like they're not perfect. No political party is right now, but yeah. class consciousness is not built simply by joining worker unions, because you need to have a political line, you need to have a number of educated people, educated politically. So I'm not really a fan of this individualization of like systemic issues while pretending to what the fuck was I saying? I forgot. I'm going numb from this video. Yeah, it's so tiresome. But like, political education is more important to self-improvement than just like letting go of your phone. And I think for this, you don't just demonize people from doing shit however the fuck they want. Personally, the way I enjoy to consume political theory, of course there's YouTube videos, but those are not the main thing. That's why I made a reading list video. I want people to pick up books themselves and actually engage with the content, because by simplifying or by vulgarizing content all the time, we're not actually... Sorry, I'm going to take down these headphones. You're not actually educating people on the matter, because you're distorting it a bit by simplifying it. So people need to read the actual content. So I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back. And by the way, these are my girlfriend's Funko Pops. I don't have them on my desk. I have one that she gifted to me. Look at how glorious this monster minima is. It's really starting to be nice. Yeah. Communists just want to hide in capitalism because they don't want people to ask what communism is like. So, yeah. I mean, okay, I think this is a problem I want to rant about too. The anti-intellectualism is running rampant on online spaces. And this is something I've seen a lot. You know, like I made this live stream on Anarch where I was simply like reacting and responding to his video about that was effectively just like shitting on Marxism-Leninism, and just the whole thing here was lies. He was spreading lie after lie after lie. Like, look at this shit. He starts by saying that Marxism-Leninism is basically social democracy, and we want an insurrection to bring on social democracy. And then he says that Marxism doesn't work because he pulled Wikipedia articles and compiled this into a spreadsheet. I'm not fucking with you. That's what he did. This is not fucking scientific. Oh no, their hairline's bad. Sorry. No. Hide this. So it's absolute anti-intellectualism, if not pseudo-intellectualism. Like, I asked him to engage with any Marxist literature before actually talking about it. He says, I have Marxism was my training wheels when I was a baby leftist. Big fan of Marx, just not all the opportunists that came after him. You are the opportunist you talk about. He says, if you want to watch an extensive analysis of the failures of the USSR in Maoist China, I'm not a Maoist per se, and like the failures were due to capitalist restoration by the fucking Dengist clique. Deng Xiaoping? Does it ring a bell? Along with plenty of quotes from Lenin and Trotsky and Mao and others. Like, Trotsky? Trotsky's not a Marxist-Leninist. Trotsky was a left-scum opportunist who was constantly opposed to the Soviet line. And he says, he calls me a Bible thumper, and he says like, oh, you're being counter-revolutionary because you're asking me to read. Like, no, I'm just asking you to not spread lies and propaganda and anti-intellectual discourse on the internet. What is Bible thumping about this? Just read your books. He said, I only debate with good faith interlocutors. So far, he has not demonstrated he is that. He's just spouting empty authoritarian talking points with zero knowledge of the critiques. He's doing everything he's saying. Oh my god. Like, and some ghouls from his channel are just flooding the comment section, and none of them are actually engaging in the content. None of them are actually engaging with the points. They are pretending like he made actual fair points and not just lies throughout the whole thing. And somehow I'm the one who's lying and being like authoritarian and shit. Same thing with like this Cole Hastings guy is anti-intellectualism masquerading as like profound content. And there's a video on pseudo-intellectualism. Fuck. We keep getting vindicated over and over again. Yeah. So, as we've seen, like, of course, let's see. Like, I have these videos up. Like, Bad Mouse video was 30 minutes. It took me 3 hours to cover it. Not 3 hours specifically, like, exactly, because we covered a PragerU video too. But still, it takes a lot of time to deconstruct lies, arrogance, like arguments, quote unquote, filled with ad hominems. The Anarch video was 12 minutes. It took me 2 hours to go over it with a 20-minute preface. And if you look at Socialism for All, he made a video about this guy like yesterday. He posted it yesterday.
It does not have a...
Like, it took him 46 minutes to respond to this because, and even then, a lot of points were missing or deserve to be expanded upon a lot. Yeah. So lies about everything take a few seconds to make, like you said, FSS27. Like, they don't engage with arguments. Genuinely, what fucking boggles me is that they watch the first minute of a 2-hour segment, and then they claim that we don't make any points and that we're lying. And same thing with theory. They say they sprinkled in a few quotes from Lenin, Trotsky, Mao. They don't know what these people stand for. They haven't read the theory, but they pretend they did, and then they call us out for having empty authoritarian talking points and being Bible thumpers. Is it a Bible thumping to ask you to pick up a fucking book? Is it Bible thumping to ask you to fucking investigate a matter before speaking upon it? No! It's what we've always done everywhere. Just, if you don't know about the subject, don't fucking speak upon it. You need to know what a subject is, or what an event is, or what is happening to talk about it. Otherwise, you're just talking for the sake of having an opinion. And this is worthless. You are just masquerading as an intellectual while your whole fucking schlick is guiding the masses away from actual concrete action that can have a lasting effect. Great examples. Anarch starts talking about the Zapatistas as an example of anarchism, which shows he has no clue what the fuck he's talking about, because the Zapatistas had Marxist-Leninist roots and had very like specific struggles they wanted to achieve. I'm gonna hold on. I had a whole class on Latin American politics. Okay, it's not gonna work, but yeah, where we talked about the struggles of many people in different Latin American countries. It was a very weird ass fucking liberal framing, but I didn't get penalized for having a Marxist line. But there was an exam where we had to argue or explain what the Zapatistas were, so I did a lot of fucking research to prepare for this, and it was not global. It was very like quick. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that the purpose of Zapatas and the Zapatismo movement was an indigenous decolonial movement to seek to destroy the Mexican state apparatus. And so they started with a revolution that had very concrete revendications, right? The indigenous peoples in Yucatan, notably, were and are still very much so exploited by these Western-backed like colonial institutions, and a lot of times the indigenous people were ended up in like away from their like ancestral homeland and into the cities where they work for the hotels and for the factories. And it was a landmark movement, still is. It was a landmark movement on Marxist-Leninist principles, but eventually they moved onto like more indigenous practices and indigenous lines, and they got very heavily repressed by the Mexican states. And so right now it's more so it's not very it's not very easy to see what it's like, because it's very opaque. They don't want to get destabilized. They don't want to like wreckers to know exactly how they operate. It's hard to get a look inside them. But one documentary I want to show you is Zapatistas 30 years later. Yeah, the Zapatistas uprising 30 years later. They had a Vice video on them a while back, but yeah. In the mountains of Chiapas. So it's a grassroots movement by indigenous, started with a Marxist line, but they don't operate as an anarchist communist, whatever the fuck. It's not anarchism or socialism in one building, like what's called, but anyway. Like they effectively have a state apparatus. They have a militarized group that is actively trying to fight against the Mexican state. And the reality is that the adoption of a more horizontal line, and the fact that they didn't incentivize the struggle against the Mexican state and rather focus on controlling this specific part of the territory, I don't blame them too. There were cartels, there was the Mexican state that had a very, very, very much higher power than them. I think there would be very much so a value, very much added value in like mobilizing with Mexican workers against this Mexican state. But yeah, they kind of got pushed into a position where they had to defend these lines, and they lost a lot of territory. And the reality is, after 30 years of struggle, the youth are starting to go back into the cities. They're starting to leave the Zapatista controlled area because they're kind of losing hope. It's a very sad thing, but they're losing hope. And I think like we've also seen it with like Zapatistas just sending open letters to American anarchists like, yo, don't claim our struggle as your example of anarchism because you want to be correct. Like, it's shitty enough to just like appropriate something from like indigenous like land back uprisings as anarchism when it isn't that, to project something onto them that it isn't, and to not even be knowledgeable of the material conditions that we're facing, instead of like actually advocating for the Mexican state to stop fucking disturbing them. Anyway, and then there was also the question of Rojava, as if Rojava was like just anarchist. Rojava doesn't control all 9 million people. Sorry, my ears are starting to fucking ring. And I'm sorry, I haven't read the chat in a while. Yeah, of course, soft spots for Cuba because of an anti-imperialist line, but they don't even understand why they... I mean, no. I mean, for a lot of them, it's just denunciation of Cuba because they think it was a dictatorship. It's a CIA, like, liberal line. Sorry. So another example was the Spanish uprising against the fascists during the Franco period, the Spanish Civil War. And like this was a very odd movement. It was like a proletarian revolution against the fascist state, with like international support from notably like, hold on, I'll be right back. No. Like a part of the battalion from Canada, Canada's 22nd Regiment, if I remember correctly, from the Communist Party of Canada, a Marxist-Leninist party, were fighting alongside them in this struggle. And notably, Norman Bethune, who ended up going to the Maoist China, served in the Spanish Civil War in the Republican side, and acted like as a medic. So, going deeper into this, why is he claiming the Spanish Civil War as anarchist? Like, yeah, George Orwell wasn't there. So to finish up this point, Anarch lies about the Spanish Civil War being anarchist. They had a state. They had labor camps that they called concentration camps for the reactionaries. They had effectively a monopoly on who could carry weapons. They did the exact same shit that the Bolsheviks did, but this time it was fine because they think they were anarchists or some shit. Like, they denounce authoritarianism and then they get turned on and they start joking off, thinking about like what happened in revolutionary Catalonia. There are a lot of mistakes in all fucking experiments, and to denounce one as particularly more authoritarian for no particular reason, I think it's not principled. Same thing with Rojava, same thing with the Zapatistas and shit. Like, what about the time in revolutionary Catalonia where they banned traffic lights? Was this good because it was anti-authoritarian? You guys want to abolish bedtime as well? Anyway, I feel like I'm fucking rambling. What else did I have to add? I knew I added more into that comment. Yeah, it's just a lack of media literacy. It's a lack of historical analysis, and it all ties back to the slopification of content. These people open their mouth to yap a lot, but they never actually read, or they never actually listen. And one thing that was fucking frustrating is that people were telling me to, oh, watch his longer content. You'll see he's actually very smart. But like, if this is what he sounds like, and if this is what he thinks when he's not making like a video, this was a live stream, so that's what he thinks in the immediate. And like, he actually had the conscience to actually clip this and post it to YouTube to shit on Marxism-Leninism. For what purpose? What purpose does this serve? He wants to grow his audience. This guy's on fucking like means.tv. Like, for him, it's just like about money. It has to be. Let me see what comes up when I search Marxism-Leninism on YouTube. It's The Butcher. The Butcher. This guy's strong as fuck. Weeb Revolution, bro. I love to see socialism for all of this. Bro, not Noam Chomsky. I have to react to this video one time. This channel seems to have the Trotskyist line and it pisses me off. Bro, it's all Maoism for the masses. This video by Finball is pretty good too. And this video by Revolutionary Left Radio, I didn't really enjoy it because it's 2 hours and 50 minutes of debunking the Holodomor genocide question, but I think there was much more valuable content to add on Stalin because, of course, a lot of the sections were covered, but like, why do you spend 2 hours on the Ukrainian famine when, like, there's many more points to touch? I think it deserves to be expanded upon a lot. Oh, yeah. At the end of the day, it's like, in a world full of Chomskys, be a parenti. This is something that someone commented on my shit, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So to go back to the video that was posted by this fucking guy, what was his name? I already forgot his name. That's how insignificant he is. Maybe I'm just demented. Why Gen Z can't start a revolution. I could look into my history right there, but I can't be asked to press the button. Cole Hastings. Cole.
Your argument to
So, like, I don't get what his goal is. It's like he wants to grow his channel by appealing to, like, different people by seeking nuance. By the end of the day, you can't just always be on a line where you're seeking nuance and you're saying, oh, this side has some good takes and this other side has some good points as well. Like, yeah, so Cole Hastings is a channel we reacted to in the past hour, but oh my god, it's just why Gen Z, why Gen Z, why Gen Z, why everything is a simulation now. It's just disconnected from the actual material reality of the masses. Like the average worker works in a fucking factory and doesn't have time to interact with these fuck ass videos. The average worker goes back to home to fucking like cook, spend time with their wife, kids, and doesn't watch why Gen Z can start a revolution. Like contrary to what he said, the average proletarian does not spend 1 hour of their day gooning. This is fuck ass nonsense. This is the part of the stream where I present to you Mr. Apricot Anderson, Marxist-Leninist in chief of this house. Oh. I love this fucking guy so much. Oh. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to hurt him by something a lot of people get wrong is like they take their cat like this without any support. That hurts their fucking spine. Just pick them up like a sentient being. Let them be comfortable. Oh. No, baby. You can't be in here though. My girlfriend and I established a rule that he can't be in the office because like a few weeks ago I didn't see he was in my legs and like I fucking I was standing here and I didn't see he was there and I just tripped on the cat and I hit my head on this ledge right here and I neared like a concussion. Maybe that's why I had the misfortune of starting to watch these fucking slob videos. Yeah. Service work, yeah. I want to tell a few stories from my personal service work. My work history, like when I was 15, I went on like an exchange to work at McDonald's in British Columbia, in Revelstoke. We were like a team of 12 students, all in like secondary 3 and 4. So I was 15 and we rotated for 8-hour shifts. Like 1 week I'd start at 7 a.m. and finish at 3 p.m. Another week I'd start at 3 p.m. and finish at 11 p.m. And a lot of times actually, I started at 4 a.m. and then I finished at 3 p.m. to have like a 11-hour longer shift, but just to open the restaurant and doing some prep work. Because like I agree with that or not, it's a lot of work to prepare a restaurant for opening in the morning, and that's just fucking McDonald's. Imagine like an actual restaurant that serves actual food. Oh my god, this wasn't the time when McDonald's had those breakfast burritos, right? And not the shitty ones. They were fucking delicious, like big ass breakfast burritos. So this was we were paid minimum wage for that province, and I have a very bad experience with this manager who he was a fucking freak, bro. He started to like massage my back, like, and then he went to like grabbing my ass and shit. I was 15. This guy was like a 50-year-old man, and he did that to another one of my male coworkers. I don't know what his fucking deal was, but we told the other managers about it. And what happened, because there was no like actual worker protections, is oh, he got a 4-day suspension and then he got promoted and he couldn't interact with us. Like, there was no actual punishment. And I think that's the benefit they get from these student exchanges. If we dare speak about our conditions, if we dare speak about something that happened, if we speak negatively, if we do anything wrong, we get sent back home. But this is minimal shit. Like, it's not that big of a deal compared to what the fuck happens to migrant workers in Quebec, right? I've talked about this in my last video on the channel, Beyond Token Land and let me start this sentence again. I've talked about this on the last video on the channel, Beyond Token Land Acknowledgements, where I have a big segment about how migrant workers are treated. Yeah. And so then when I got back home, I started working at McDonald's in an independent city near Quebec, L'Ancienne Lorette. I went to school near that. And that was one of the most fucked up work experiences of my life. Like, it's McDonald's. You get a lot of like rude customers all the time. And you don't really control how the production is done. Like, I remember it was fucking disgusting. Like, we let the cheese sit on the side of the hot oven for like hours on end. It was not fresh. We mixed some like ready-made fucking slop in a bucket with a drill for the poutine sauce. One time, like, I went to work with a headache. I was like, I'm gonna eat something, and then the eating something from there made me fucking puke my guts out. In this work experience, like, there was no actual control on how like people treated the customers either. A lot of time in service, you're told to like treat the customer like a king or whatever, but in this specific place, it was weird. One time I was serving like a customer, like someone with an thick African accent, right? And I was serving his order. I was trying to note down everything. Like, it was perfectly comprehensible, right? But not for some other fucking coworker. This guy, it was at the like automobile service, right? We have the little microphone headsets. This guy logs onto channel 1 where I was taking the order, and he starts making monkey noises and saying racist shit. And this really pissed me the fuck off, but like I told him to shut his fucking mouth and like get the fuck out of here. But at the same time, I was trying to take this fucking customer's order. Anyway, I gave him his order for free and I apologize, but like, fuck. This guy didn't get fucking reprimanded for being racist. And it's not surprising, because one time this fucking manager starts in the middle of the kitchen. She starts yelling about how she wants to kill herself because she doesn't want to do this anymore. Like, this fucking work experience has made her, gotten her at the edge of the fucking end of the fucking line, right? There was some kind of like absurdity to like screaming this in the middle of the thing, but someone's in a fucking crisis. What's bad? And it was not even like the worst place you could work, right? There's fucking sweatshops. How do people feel working in sweatshops in despair without any worker protections, whatever? And in this service work in McDonald's, like it genuinely made me cry once. One of our coworkers, she was a sweet old lady. I don't remember her name. Astaghfirullah. She was like 80 years old. I'm not kidding you. She told me one time, like, oh, I didn't have enough funds to retire, and now I have to work at McDonald's until I fucking die. This is low-key one of the things that radicalized me, but I wasn't really knowledgeable. I was 15 at the time. And I got into like socialism, marxism-leninism at like 17, 18. Haven't looked back since. Though I had weird like semi-anarchist some Trotskyist phases, but I don't want to talk about these. This has to do to go in a self-crit session. Yeah. Then I went to work at a grocery store, IGA, International Grocers Association, in Lac-Beauport, like a borough of Quebec City. It's an independent town, but like anyway, it's a very it was a fucked up work experience. Like I went there for summer and I left because like the boss was a chud. The boss was genuinely a chud. It was during the pandemic, so I was assigned to work 9-hour shifts cleaning fucking carts and bullying people into washing their hands. And oftentimes, like, I'd get into arguments with people who wouldn't wear a mask or wash their hands, and they'd legitimately just try to fight me or like be rude or aggressive. And then they say, "Oh, I'm gonna talk to the boss." One fucking time, it was a Pepsi representative or whatever. I was telling him, "Yeah, you have to wash your hands and shit." And he was being aggressive. He was trying to start shit, and then he went to actually talk to the boss. He was like, "I'm gonna talk to the manager," and then he came back to me. He was like, "I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. I'm the one who was in the wrong." That was genuinely fucking satisfying. The guy was a chud, but that was because he talked to like one of the actual nice managers who actually cared about us. The owner was the worst. One time, like someone, you know, these like sliding glass doors, right? They can get easily like thrown off the rail and not work anymore if someone hits them. And like I was assigned to clean shit and to wrap up groceries and to do the facing and the shelves. And this fucking chud ass owner comes up to me and says, "I know you broke the door." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about breaking the door? You hit a cart. I have you on camera." And then we go see the footage. It's not even me, and he still fucking blames me and says he's gonna have me like pay for it. Like I didn't end up paying for it. Of course, he was in the fucking wrong. Then I went to work at IKEA, and the work system was really fucking bad. I was like in the warehouse and putting together the orders, and like how it works is that we have like metal carts with like poles. If you're in Canada or in the US, in the northern part, you know these fucking poles you put in your driveway to signal that to the guy plowing your driveway that this is the end of it and you can't go further. Anyway, those plastic fucking flimsy things. We had those with like order numbers, and we had to put them under tension on the cart. And one time, one of them fucking went out and poked me in the eye. Had to go to the hospital and shit. Oh my god. Yeah, it was in Quebec, right? One of the places where we have like one of the highest unionization rates in Canada. Anyway, but like with IKEA, it was very bureaucratic and didn't get any compensation. The whole labor court system is very long and yeah. Anyway, and I don't mean that to ask for empathy, right? I'm saying like these are like bad work experiences I've had, and since then like I've worked for what did I do? I worked for like a very nice like exotic animal shelter, where we did animations and work to promote animal rights and like for people to fucking stop buying pets from like pet shops and especially exotic animals, and to sensibilize people about them. That was a great work experience because it was a non-profit. And then at the city, it was very good, though it was a city inspection. And now at the government ministry, it's just repetitive stuff, but it's very great conditions. It's labor aristocracy stuff, being a functionary. Like these bad work experiences I've had when I was a teenager, this was like a fraction of what happens to like most fucking workers who are in like service or in the global south or in factories, or in mechanic shops or whatever the fuck. So it's very much normalized to have shitty working conditions under capitalism, and yeah, Where did I want to go with this? I don't remember. I don't know the point I was gonna make. Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. By the way, oh yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. 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 It's also like a great improvement over what we had in the past. I made this video a few weeks ago. It didn't get any traction whatsoever. It's sitting at like 600 views right now. But anyway, if you want, pop by and watch this. It's a history of worker rights in like northern France, the Anti strike in Germany as a whole, as a cinematographic work, but also how strikes and worker unions are not an end all be all, and that there are dead ends within the labor movement. And by the way, how's socialism now doing? One sub left. I made this audiobook 2 weeks ago, and I don't know where it was. We should probably add video chapters, but I had a long comment about how labor unions are oftentimes reactionary and taking like a very class collaborationist line, and that we need to build parallel organizations to infiltrate those unions. And yeah. Bro, this is a gem. I'm fucking cackling. This is a queuing server, whatever the fuck. But yeah, something I want to stress, guys, gang, guys and girls, NBs, whatever the fuck. If you have an organization that does like actual like building of the proletariat as a political power, just find any posters that can like mobilize for class consciousness. I'm gonna try and find a few examples. Oh yeah, of course. So fuck, someone told me I look Israeli in that picture. I'm gonna end it all. Yeah. I don't want to look Israeli. What's the group? Yeah, this is one of the posters I put up, just made by Alliance Ouvrière. The government in power cuts and the immigrants pay. I'm in a very immigrant populated neighborhood, very working class neighborhood. And I think that was one of the best places to put these posters, because the government is cutting this, cutting that, abolishing programs, and that we need to organize to fight against it. And in the actual like councils, we are talking about the actual reasons, the roots of all these problems. No, I don't know Spanish. I'm Quebecois. I speak French. This is French. I don't really know much Spanish. And there was another one about like the government cutting into like mental health and being shit for women. Anyway, so just find an organization that has posters and put up those posters all over your neighborhood. It's genuinely one of the best things you could do on an individual basis. Just put on a shit ton of propaganda across your neighborhood, and that works. it effectively works to recruit people into your ranks. And the strategy is to get people in this like worker organization to talk together about class consciousness, and people with time realize that we can learn a lot from Marxism-Leninism. I speak a bit of Chinese as well, but that's a while ago. Haven't really studied it more. Like we hear a lot from like the RCP, the Trots, whatever, that they need to fund the party and they need resources and shit, and and they use this as justification to like pay $60 to $240 a month in fees, and to pay $5 per newspaper. Like realistically, in this worker council we are in, it's like a $10 a month membership, and it's optional. Some people pay more, some people pay less, but we just use this as funds to like actually make or produce the propaganda. But it's all volunteer work. We don't need to like have a monetary incentive for this. Like, anyway, the rant about the RCP is for another time. I don't like them. Hell yeah. Another thing, like, I'll be right back. I think I have the poster somewhere. La 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 la. Fuck my fucking chud life. It was there all along. All right, this is my propaganda thing, and like what I often do is like I have these posters. This is Les Soulèvements du Fleuve, like a environmentalist collective. It doesn't really have a principled Marxist line or whatever. They're mostly anarchists, but it's useful to talk to people at events. What else? We have these kind of posters that you need to join this local organization because the landlords are fucking extorting us. And then this one that they're blaming immigrants. What else? Something that's very effective as well is just sharing signs and actual like just explanations to people at protests. I gave out like 400 of these at a climate protest earlier this year. So you educate people by meeting them where they are. You explain them like, hey, these problems are rooted in capitalism, and there are actual concrete steps you can take beyond protesting. Oh boy, yeah, Hakim. Hakim once commented on one of my videos. Good stuff, Habibi. I liked him at first because he's the one who got me into like Marxism-Leninism, right? But the thing that made me switch up, like I don't really like that he's like pro-Chinese revisionism, pro-Dengism. He's very dogmatic in his views about China, and it's like him, JT, and Yugupnik are starting to get more into like socialism as a business, as a commodity, rather than wanting people to get organized or to acknowledge to push for a specific organization. Like oftentimes when you hear there was the China episode, right? I commented positively on S4's response to the China episode, and I got banned from a Discord server that linked to the program, right? RSG program. It's a fan server, but whatever the fuck. Like Hakim kept making this funny voice when talking about communist terms. the productive forces and whatever, and it really like decredibilizes your opponents. You make your opponent seem like a fucking idiot while not actually making arguments. It's disingenuous, it's dishonest, and like it's counter-revolutionary to be like a dengist chud instead of actually advocating for like concrete change in your area. Like, you can acknowledge that China is revisionist without being counter-revolutionary. That's not how it works. Anyway, I don't know what lavender is. Elevator? Like, let's look at who I'm subscribed to on YouTube. I don't actually know. Huh. I don't agree with everything that everyone puts out, but like,
Qu'est-ce que t'as mangé? C'est en stream?
Shit. Ruination's pretty good. They're a bit revisionist, but whatever. Wasn't that Harper O'Connor guy on TikTok originally? Democracy lover. Where is it? Bro, what the fuck is this? Hold on. No, that's not him. Democracy lover. Where's he? Harper O'Connor. Does he have a Twitter? Like, I watch a few of them, but most of it is like leftist guys debating, and it's just commentary on like these surrounded type videos. I don't really get his whole shtick. No, he said he learned things from working for Zahran Mamdani, so he kind of strikes me as a demsuck. The thing is, like, he links something to get politically educated. Oh, this was a page where he sold a reading list instead of just telling people what to read. And that's just fucking shitty to do. Like, at least give people resources. You don't sell people a resource. I don't like this. But if he can get people into like a Marxist pipeline, then so be it. I good. And non-compete, I don't know. Is it principled? Is it better? I know non-compete used to be an anarchist, but sorry, I'm supposed to be subscribed. Anyway, yeah, anarchist married to a revisionist. Anyway, I feel like any work that doesn't send people down a weird ass dead end of an ideology is good. I don't think he's an anarchist. I think his wife shook some sense into him. Though I knew him from this PewDiePie video. Like, so many people dislike shit before even watching it. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end the stream here on a note that this this Cole Hastings guy, the guy we started the stream about, liberal chud, talking about shit that's not profound as if it was profound. Like, systemic change comes from like actual organizing in real life, not self-improvement over TikTok and gooning or whatever. It's also tiresome. Yeah. Where did the chat go? We have a chat. But yeah, read. Please read, everyone. On that note, if you're all interested, I think the Germinal video is pretty good if you want to keep watching some content. Otherwise, like these two have been some of my better work, I think. There's always something to watch. Or just read, I guess. So, yeah. Evil and Cap. What is this troll ass channel? Alright. Thanks everyone for coming by. Have a good one.